What they really do care about is endless war. That is not a joke. They are not kidding at all. They really mean that. They'll do anything to keep those going for both ideological and financial reasons. There are a bunch of reasons why they feel that way, but if you want to know what they really care about, watch what happened to Tulsi Gabbard, who was pretty liberal, actually, in a lot of ways.
Former military. I mean, it's exactly what you'd want, right?
She shows up in D.C., immediately becomes vice chair of the DNC.
I've dedicated my entire adult life to serving our country.
I think before she was even inaugurated, they're just like, you're so great, you're so perfect. We're making you vice chair of the DNC. I don't even know if she knew what the DNC was. Okay, she was like a future president in training.
Morning, guys. That's me. I'm Tulsi, running for president. Nice to meet you guys.
It's so nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I love how you support our troops.
Thank you.
Everything was going great until she's like, because she has this quirk of character, like she's just like, well, I don't really understand that. Why is this happening? Why are we against Assad?
Whatever you think about President Assad, the fact is that he is the president of Syria. In order for any peace agreement, in order for any possibility of a viable peace agreement to occur, there has to be a conversation with him.
The second she said that, she went from being truly someone they were grooming to be president to an enemy, and they had to destroy her on personal terms, too.
An extraordinary development in the presidential campaign. Hillary Clinton called Tulsi Gabbard, quote, the favorite of the Russians.
You have faced some really harsh criticism from fellow Democrats.
Our Democratic Party, unfortunately, is not the party that is of, by, and for the people. It is a party that has been and continues to be influenced by the foreign policy establishment in Washington, represented by Hillary Clinton and others' foreign policy, by the military-industrial complex and other greedy corporate interests.
We understand the importance of the greatest military alliance the world has ever known, which is NATO, and what we have done to preserve the ability of Zelensky and the Ukrainians to fight for their independence. Otherwise, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv with his eyes on the rest of Europe and would eat you for lunch.
So that just reveals exactly what they care about. They care about the war. It's where all the money is.
And Trump was against that.
Totally, and not even in a very consistent way. I mean, Trump has never been, was not ideological at all,
right,
in any case. He's very much a Mediterranean in his outlook and in his temperament. You know, it's like, we'll make a deal. You want this, I want that. Like, we can do this. You know, he's like a Lebanese shopkeeper. And he didn't even attack NATO on, like, ideological grounds. Trump's position was, why are we the only ones paying for NATO?
23 of the 28 member nations are still not paying what they should be paying and what they are supposed to be paying for their defense. This is not fair to the people and taxpayers of the United States.
They were so freaked out that someone dared question NATO on any level in public that they were like, Trump must be destroyed. We got to put this guy in prison before he can criticize NATO again.
But I think even more than that was saying, hey, why aren't we friendly with Russia? Why can't we get along with Russia? And the Russiagate, really, it's funny, there's no Russians in the Russiagate story. There's only people that actually had some level of affinity for Russia, saying, hey, we should have good relations, and maybe if America and Russia are working together, we can fight Islamic terrorism, maybe we can stabilize things around the world. So Flynn, Carter Page, Papadopoulos, basically just people that have any sense of maybe working with Russia is a good idea, they become Russian agents. Just for having the idea, right?
No.
That's it. That was it.
I just want to make sure I'm not misunderstanding what you're saying. I don't think that I am. I think you're saying you want a negotiated settlement to what's happening in Ukraine.
Right. And we made it. We prepared a huge document in Istanbul that was initialed by the head of the Ukrainian delegation. He affixed his signature to some of the provisions, not to all of it. He put his signature and then he himself said, we were ready to sign it and the war would have been over long ago, 18 months ago. However, Prime Minister Johnson came, talked us out of it, and we missed that chance.
A couple of days ago, we told you that the National Security Agency had read our emails and was effectively threatening us with them, leaking them. It's not a statement you would make lightly. No one wants to go on TV and say, the government's spying on me. You sound like a lunatic, except when it's true, and in this case, it is true. And of course, it's not just this show.
The U.S. government went after me and like tried to really hurt me, over this. And I'll just speak for myself and say, like, I was totally agnostic on Russia, like completely agnostic. I had no feelings at all, other than loving Tolstoy and Dostoevsky, but that's it. And I just asked questions, and they immediately, start spying on me, and my phone broke into my Signal account, all this stuff.
It should be illegal.
Well, it is illegal. It is illegal. What they did, no one was ever punished. The NSA admitted doing it. Here I am whining. But it's just shocking that our system could be this corrupt. So then you have to ask, what is this fixation with Russia? And I have spent the last 8 years asking far more knowledgeable people. And there are many different groups in Washington who are aligning to do this. There are the neocons who are purely ideological. Then there are people who are getting rich. The economy of Washington is weapon sales, period. So there's that. But there are people bought into the Cold War system, not just the mentality, but the system. The entire city was designed to fight the Cold War for 40 years. Georgetown University would train up the next generation of Kremlinologists or Sovietologists, Russian speakers, everything from language schools to think tanks to publications to, of course, defense contracts. All of it was aligned to fight Russia, and it was just too hard for them to change. And then there are some other reasons, I think, having to do with Christianity that made Russia really a threat to them.
China's a dictatorship. It's authoritarian.
Right.
You can have the same argument that you make against Putin against the Chinese.
Yes.
But they don't.
Exactly.
They fixate on Putin.
Putin is probably the most, well, not the most evil, stiff competition for that honor, but nonetheless, among the top 3 or 4 most evil people in the world.
Putin is a stabilizing force in a country that is so potentially dangerous to the world because it has the world's largest nuclear arsenal.
Значит, думаю, никакому человеку в здравом уме и ясной памяти не придет в голову применить ядерное оружие в отношении России.
Russia is the most complex place I can imagine, far more complex than China, which is 99% Han Chinese. Russia is not an ethno-state, it's the opposite. It's the most diverse country you can imagine, linguistically, religiously, culturally. It's the largest country in the world. Imagine running a country like that.
Well, it was an empire at one time.
It was an empire, but then you lose the Warsaw Pact in '91, and you're stuck with this rump empire, and all these people hate each other, and they're impoverished, and you keep it together as a political achievement. There are very few parallels in history to that. No one will say that because Putin bad.
Well, because we're trying to destroy, literally, to balkanize it, right?
What would happen if we did that?
More chaos.
True chaos.
При угрозе территориальной целостности нашей страны для защиты России и нашего народа мы, безусловно, используем все имеющиеся в нашем распоряжении средства.
Well, nuclear explosions around the world. What happens to the nuclear arsenal in Russia? We kill Putin? How's that going to end? It's going to end with tens, hundreds of millions of people dying from nuclear weapons, actually. You don't need to be a game theorist to see what happens if Putin gets taken out in a coup. So it's the craziest thing I think I've ever seen in a lifetime in DC. And I couldn't have more loathing for the people who are pushing it.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. We hope you'll subscribe to it. And by the way, you can hit the little bell on there and get notifications every time we produce a video. We hope you'll do that also.